Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the 2020 Annual General Meeting. As you can see, we have to hold it virtually. So without any further ado, we'll have the invocation, the Credit Union prayer. And I suppose tonight we must think back of all those who passed away since our last AGM, and particularly those who passed away with COVID or who have been seriously ill. All the people in business and people out of work. You know, it's been a very difficult time for our country. But please God, brighter days are ahead with the vaccine rollout. So, Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it's given that we receive, this pardon we are pardoned, this dying that we're born to eternal life. As this is our first virtual AGM, we would kindly ask members to bear with us. Your patience would be greatly appreciated. Please note everyone's microphone and camera has been switched off by default, excluding the presenters. If you wish to ask a question during the AGM, please click the question and answer button and type the question. We will attempt to answer as many questions as possible. If we do not get an answer to your question, we will reply to you personally after the annual general meeting. I will ask you to participate in the meeting and to propose and second it when required. For this, I ask that you use the raise hand function. I will then announce the proposer and seconder. As we move through the meeting, I'll outline the voting procedure as required. The first item here is the acceptance of proxies by the Board of Directors. Have we any proxies? No proxies were received, so I'll move on. The next item is an ascertainment that we have a quorum present. I'll check with the facilitator which will be available and will confirm same. It's been confirmed, yeah, so that's good. Now, adoption of standing orders. I need a proposer and seconder for that. It's on page 10 of your full AGM booklet. So if I could have a proposer and seconder, please.
Proposed by Pat Roach.
Proposed by Pat Roach.
And seconded by Breda McCarthy.
And seconded by Breda McCarthy. That's carried. Now I'll introduce you to our esteemed secretary, Anna Tui Halligan, who's going to read out the 2019 minutes which were held in Ballykistine Hotel. Okay, Anna, over to you.
Thank you. Minutes of the AGM of Tipperary Credit Union, the 10th of December 2019. The annual general meeting of Tipperary Credit Union was held in Ballykistine Hotel, Tipperary on Tuesday, the 10th of December 2019 at 8 p.m. Acceptance of proxies. There was no proxy votes. A quorum was ascertained. Adoption of the standing orders. Adoption of standing orders was proposed by Sarah Gallagher and seconded by Dennis Hartnett and was carried by a show of hands. Minutes of the previous annual general meeting. Anna Tui Halligan read the minutes of the previous AGM. The adoption of the minutes were proposed by Helen Tracy and seconded by Eddie McGrath and carried by a show of hands. Chairman's address and report of the Board of Directors. John Hartnett presented the Chairman's address and the report of the Board of Directors. John began by welcoming everybody to the AGM. He said that the credit union continues to be a success story while retaining its core credit union values. He said that the credit union was actively lending and very much open to business. He thanked the members for the continued support to follow and also thanked his fellow directors and the CEO and staff for their hard work throughout the year. The adoption of the report was proposed by Micheál Maloney and seconded by Paul Castigan and carried by a show of hands. Address of the CEO and financial report. Pat Shanahan presented the financial report for the year ending the 30th of September 2019. Pat said that he was very happy to report that the credit union had another and continues to go from strength to strength. 739 new members had joined the credit union and membership now stands at 28,107. In financial terms, total assets for the credit union reached 152 million and we had achieved a surplus of 1.29 million. The report was proposed by Rita Ryan and seconded by Dennis Hartnett and carried by a show of hands. Report of the Auditor. The Auditor, Grant Thornton, reported that in their opinion, the financial statements gave a true and fair view of the state of the credit union's affairs as of the 30th of September 2019, and that they had been properly prepared in accordance with the provisions of the Credit Union Act 1997 as amended. The report was proposed by Liam Quirk and seconded by Pat Roach and carried by a show of hands. Ordinary resolutions. The Board of Directors recommended that payment of €12,233 by way of a 0.01% dividend on member shares and the payment of €175,914 as a 5% loan interest rebate. The sum of €2.50 will be deducted from the shares of each adult member for payment of the Irish League of Credit Unions affiliation fees in compliance with Rule 109.6 and the Standard Rules of 2016. The adoption of the report was proposed by Michelle Toohey and seconded by Micheál Maloney, and the vote was carried by a show of hands. The board also recommended the transfer of the remaining surplus to the reserves within the credit union. This was proposed by Annette Coyle and seconded by Catherine Hogan and was carried by a show of hands. Rule amendments. There were 4 rule amendments to the standard rules of Tipperary Credit Union. The amendments were in relation to the appointment of membership officer. The adoption of the rule amendments was proposed by Dennis Hartnett and seconded by Paul Costigan and was carried by a show of hands. Report of the Board Oversight Committee. Michael Quinn presented the report of the Board Oversight Committee. The committee was very satisfied that the credit union operates to the highest standard of oversight and regulation, and in their opinion, the board has acted in accordance with the relevant parts of that act. The report was proposed by Joan Richardson and seconded by Helen Tracy and was carried by a show of hands. Report of the Credit Committee. The report of the Credit Committee was presented by Carmel Donovan. Throughout 2019, 4,016 loans were paid out, amounting to 18.7 million, and total loans outstanding to members amounted to 44.2 million. The adoption of the report was proposed by Sarah Gallagher and seconded by Catherine Hogan and carried by a show of hands. The following reports were taken as read. Report by the Audit Committee, report of the Credit Control Committee, report of the Insurance Officers, report of Membership Committee, report of the Remuneration Committee, report of the Risk Committee. Each report was proposed and seconded and carried by a show of hands. Report of the Community Committee. Breatha McCarthy presented the report of the Community Committee. This is the new committee following the merger of the Promotions and the Youth Committee. She reported that in 2019, the credit union had spent over 24,450 on sponsorship and promotions. The St. Patrick's Day Parade, Pride of Tipperary, Tipperary Hills Pitch and Putt, and many other events. The committee was also responsible for the youth programme, including the scholarship, a digital media competition, and the school quiz and poster competitions. Breatha thanked everyone involved in organising the events during the year. The report was proposed by Rita Ryan and seconded by Helen Tracy and carried by a show of hands. Report of the Nominating Committee. Dominic Morrissey presented the report of the Nominating Committee. Dominic reported that there were 3 vacancies on the Board of Directors. Carmel Donovan, Patricia O'Brien and Anne Dowling are outgoing and were seeking re-election. Nominations were received for each outgoing director. There was 1 vacancy on the Board Oversight Committee. Sean Bratcher was co-opted during the year and is seeking election. A nomination for the vacancies was received from Sean Bratcher. Nomination for the position of auditor was received from Grant Thornton, Mill House, Henry Street, Limerick. The nomination committee found all in order and the nomination received. The adoption of the report for the nomination committee was proposed by Mary Hartnett and seconded by Mary Toomey and was carried with a show of hands. Following the appointment of tellers, the election took place for the vacancies of the Board of Directors, the Board Oversight Committee and the position of Auditor. Any other business? The raffle for members attending the AGM was held. The announcement of the election results. The auditors, Grant Thornton and Company, was deemed elected. Board Oversight Committee, Sean Bratcher was deemed elected. Board of Directors, Carmel Donovan, Anne Dowling and Patricia O'Brien were deemed elected. This concluded the minutes of the meeting. The chair thanked everybody who attended and wished them a safe journey home.
Thank you, Anna. Could I have a reading and the approval of the minutes of the 29 AGM? A proposer and seconder, please.
Catherine Hogan proposed.
Proposed by Catherine Hogan.
And Michelle Toohey seconded.
And seconded by Michelle Toohey. So now a poll will appear on your screen, so you might please adopt it now by voting. That's carried. Thank you, Anna. We will now have the address of myself and report of the Board of Directors. Good evening, members. Welcome to the 53rd Annual General Meeting of Tipperary Credit Union Limited. It gives me great pleasure to present to you our annual report and accounts for the year ended the 30th of September 2020. The delay in holding our AGM was due to COVID, however, better late than ever. So much has changed in our country and across the world since our last AGM in December 2019. The arrival of the COVID-19 pandemic has had a catastrophic effect on the social, economic, business and sporting life of all our citizens. Early in the COVID lockdown, credit unions were listed as essential services by governments north and south. We remained open to the public during the height of the lockdown and did our best to continue operating as normal as possible. Tipperary Credit Union encouraged our members to contact us by phone or transact their business online and to only visit the credit union if absolutely necessary, while observing strict social distancing guidelines. Our dedicated staff bravely put themselves on the front line on a daily basis to keep the credit union open in line with government wishes. My fellow directors and Board Oversight Committee members also met regularly to review operations. Huge emphasis was placed on increasing our online products and EFT payment options. These included promotion of our new current account facility, debit account product, online bill payment option, direct debit payments, and remote access over the web. Despite the COVID crisis, I am pleased to report that our credit union, Tipperary Credit Union, achieved a surplus of €722,870 for the year. Gross assets of the credit union reached 157.7 million, up 5.7 million since last year. Our credit union remains financially very strong with good reserves. The board had planned to pay a dividend and rebate of interest to members this year, but unfortunately, this is not possible. The central bank has issued guidelines to all credit unions, and they expect priority to be given this year, 2020, to the maintenance and building of reserves over the payment of dividends and rebates. Accordingly, the central bank do not expect that proposed distributions, the dividends or loan interest rebates would feature in the 2020 financial year. Lending-wise, we had an excellent year. We lent out nearly 19 million in new loans and saw a significant increase in mortgage loans, farming loans, home improvement loans and car loans. I wish to thank my fellow directors, Board Oversight Committee, our CEO and staff for all their hard work and commitment to Tipperary Credit Union. I especially wish to thank all our members for their continued support and loyalty. I wish everybody a safe and peaceful 2021. Thank you. Any questions, please? You can put them in the questions and answer box. If there's any questions. I'll take a proposer and seconder now for the report as the chair and board of directors, please.
Proposed by Claire Costello
Proposed by Claire Costello
and seconded by Paul Costigan.
and seconded by Paul Costigan. And you now go and we vote on that. A poll, as usual, on your screen, please. Yeah, that's carried. Now we'll have the address by our CEO, Pat Shanahan, on the financial report and consideration of accounts, and it's on page 12 of your full AGM booklet. So without any further ado, I'll hand you over to Pat.
Good evening, members, and welcome to our 2020 AGM. My name is Pat Shanahan, CEO of Tipperary Credit Union. I will now give a brief report on the financial position of our credit union and how we have performed in the past year. 2020 has certainly been a strange and unusual year. Following the arrival of COVID and with Brexit now in place, the board and management are closely monitoring events, and we have taken steps to strengthen our reserves, reduce costs, introduce new products, and continue to service our members' needs. We will also be updating our strategic plan in 2021. Tipperary Credit Union continues to grow from strength to strength. 597 new members joined us in 2020, and our total membership now stands at 26,714. We welcome our new members and also thank our existing members for their continued support. We express our deepest sympathy to the families and friends of members we lost. During the year, we lent out 18.8 million new loans, and we thank our members for using Tipperary Credit Union for their borrowing requirements. Remember also that loans and loan balances are covered by free loan protection insurance. In early 2020, we successfully launched our new member personal current account product known as the MCAS, also an overdraft facility and a MasterCard debit card. Take-up of the current account and the debit card has been excellent, with more and more members using these products and transacting their business remotely. I will now turn to our financial performance for the year, and I'm pleased to report on Tipperary Credit Union's income and expenditure account for the year ended 30th September 2020, and also on the balance sheet as at that date. Our accounts are prepared in accordance with the Credit Union Act as amended and accepted accounting standards. Our accounts are audited by Grant Thornton Chartered Accountants, and we thank them for their professionalism and once again for giving Tipperary Credit Union a clean bill of health. In financial terms, 2020 has been another successful year for our credit union. We achieved a surplus of income over expenditure amounting to 722,870 for the year to the 30th of September 2020. This exceeded our budget expectations, which we set at the beginning of the year, but it was down on last year's surplus, mainly due to lower investment returns achieved. Income consists of two main elements. We get income from loans and also income from investments. Our loan interest income performed very well over the year, which generated nearly 3.5 million, and that was similar to last year. And our average lending rate across all our loan products was just under 8%. We made investment income of 1.2 million for the year, which is very good considering the very low and negative interest and investment yields currently available. However, investment returns were significantly down on last year, and this trend will continue as investment rates remain depressed. Our total expenditure for the year was 3.9 million, and that was down on last year's figure of 4 million. The main expenditure items in Tipperary Credit Union are salary costs, depreciation of fixed assets, bad debt charges, and other management expenses. Included under other management expenses are loan protection and life savings insurance costs, debt benefit costs, computer and IT costs, regulatory levies and fees, advertising and promotion costs, bank charges, legal fees, as well as utility costs. Tipperary Credit Union currently and continually strives to keep all costs under control and to reduce costs wherever possible. As mentioned by the Chair, we are complying with the Central Bank's expectation regarding the maintenance and building up of reserves over the payment of any distributions. So unfortunately, the credit union will not be paying any dividend or rebate of interest in 2020. On the balance sheet side, at the 30th of September 2020, Tipperary Credit Union had gross assets of 157.7 million, which was up 3.7% or 5.7 million on last year. Gross assets include cash and investments of 115 million, loans to members of 45.6 million, and fixed assets of 1.7 million. On the liability side, member savings, including our current accounts, were 131.2 million, and our reserves were 25.5 million. Our gross assets increased by nearly 5.7 million in the year, and over 93% or 5.3 million of this increase was due to extra savings from members. Credit unions must reserve or set aside a minimum of 10% of additional savings each year. Rapid growth in savings is putting huge pressure on the credit union's reserve position. Consequently, the board agreed in 2020 to introduce member savings limits or savings caps of 30,000 per member and to restrict the amount that a member can lodge each month. Our loan book increased by 3% and now stands at 45.6 million. We are lending approximately 19 million annually in new loans, which equates to about 1.5 million per month. The vast majority of our members pay their loans on time and in compliance with our loan agreement. We do accept that a few members can run into difficulty, and we ask them to contact us as early as possible. Tipperary Credit Union has very strong reserves with 25.5 million, and this equates to 16.2% of gross assets. Our credit union is solvent, liquid, and complies with all legal requirements. I wish to thank my management team and staff for their hard work over the past year, particularly during the COVID-19 crisis. I also wish to thank the Chair of the Board, Directors, Board Oversight Committee for their continued support and confidence. Thank you too to all the members for continuing to use the products and services we offer, and I wish everybody a safe and prosperous new year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pat. Any questions for Pat?
Yeah, we have one question there, Pat, on opening a current account.
Okay, we have one question on how to open a current account, or how easy it is to open a current account. I'll be very brief. You can do this very simply by going online onto our website at www.tipperarycu.ie, or you can call into any of our branch offices or our head office, and any of our staff will help you to open a current account. It's a very easy and quick method, and we'd encourage anybody to do it. Cost-wise, you're looking at about €4 a month to run the current account, and that cost is waived for students and senior members.
Thanks, Pat.
Okay, thanks.
If there's no further questions, I'll take a proposer and seconder for the CEO's report and financial report.
Proposed by Micheál Maloney.
Proposed by Micheál Maloney.
And seconded by Mary Toomey.
And seconded by Mary Toomey. So again, the same procedure. You go on your screen to vote on the poll. That's carried. Thanks, Pat, again. Now I have great pleasure in introducing Sheena O'Sullivan from Grant Thornton to read our 2020 Auditor's Report, and it's on page 17 of your full AGM booklet.
Thank you. Good evening, members. On behalf of Grant Thornton, I am pleased to report on the audit of the financial statements of Tipperary Credit Union for the year ended the 30th of September 2020. Our full audit report is set out in your annual report on page 9. In summary, in our opinion, the financial statements give a true and fair view in accordance with generally accepted accounting practice in Ireland of the state of the credit union affairs as at the 30th September and of its income and expenditure and cash flows for the year then ended, and have been properly prepared so as to conform with the requirements of the Credit Union Act 1997 as amended. Based solely on the work undertaken during the course of the audit, we report that we have obtained all the information and explanations which, to the best of our knowledge and belief, were necessary for the purpose of our audit. In our opinion, proper accounting records have been kept by the credit union. The financial statements are in agreement with the accounting records of the credit union. The financial statements contain all primary statements, notes, and significant accounting policies required to be included in accordance with Section 111(1)(c) of the Act. To conclude, we wish to thank the board, management, and staff for their assistance afforded to us during the course of our audit, and we commend you, the members, for your continued support of your credit union.
Thank you, Sheena. Any questions again on put in your question and answer box?
We have one more question, John.
Right.
About the credit union share cap.
Oh yeah, yeah. This I suppose had to be introduced last year. Yeah, there is a €30,000 share cap in place, and also a €2,500 maximum monthly lodgement cap in place. This was necessary really to stem the flow of funds into the credit union. We are not the only credit union to do that. All credit unions around the country have done the same. So unfortunately, that is the position. But it's 30,000 cap, as I said, and a monthly lodgement no more than 2,500. Okay. Right. We'll now take a proposer and seconder for the auditor's report, please.
Proposed by Marie Gaynor.
Proposed by Marie Gaynor.
Seconded by Christine Ryan.
And seconded by Christine Ryan. And again, you go to your screen and you vote for the auditor's report. Yeah, that's okay. That's passed. Thank you again, Sheena. And that's the accounts. Now, our next item on the agenda are amendments to standard rules. Now, I know all these can be very boring, but they have to be done. We've 4 motions in total, and it's on page 78 of your full AGM booklet. So what I'm going to propose to do, I'll read out each of the motions, and they'll be proposed and seconded individually. Then there's the overall motion. So the rule amendments overview. The purpose of these rule amendments, the Tipperary Credit Union Limited need not hold a general meeting at a physical venue, but may conduct the meeting wholly or partly by the use of electronic communications technology. So you have motion 1. Motion 1 inserts a new rule 1A, which outlines that any reference in the rules to a member in attendance and voting at a general meeting shall be construed as including members in attendance and voting wholly or partly by use of the electronic communications technology. So if we vote on number 1 motion first, I need a proposer and seconder first, please, for.
Proposed by Sarah Slattery. And seconded by Katie Crowe.
So it's proposed by Sarah Slattery and seconded by Katie Crowe. And now we need you to vote on the motion, please. Yeah, that's carried. We're giving a bit of time for people to vote, so that's why there's a little bit of delay in between. The next motion now is motion 2. It amends Rule 96, so the credit union need not hold an AGM at a physical venue, but may hold its meeting wholly or partly using electronic technology. The current exemption only allows credit union hold virtual AGMs to the end of April 2021. The rule outlines how credit unions shall inform attendees before the AGM, what restrictions may be in place, how credit unions will use technology to facilitate the AGM, and the circumstances in which the board can cancel an AGM. So again, now I'm looking for a proposer and seconder, please.
Proposed by Michelle Toohey
Proposed by Michelle Toohey
and seconded by Brenda Ryan.
and seconded by Brenda Ryan. And now again, you must vote on that. So you vote on your screen again, please, for motion 2. Motion, yeah, that is carried. Motion 2 is carried. Thank you. Motion 3. Amends Rule 98 of the Standard Rules to state the date, the time and place and manner of holding an AGM, the technology to be used and the various procedures to be followed. Again, I want a proposer and seconder, please.
Annette Kyle proposed
Proposed by Annette Kyle
and seconded by DJ O'Connell.
and seconded by DJ O'Connell. And again, the same procedure which we'll be doing for all this night is you vote on your screen. And that's carried. Thank you. Now we have motion 4. Notice of AGM shall be given in the usual way unless not reasonably practical. In such case, notice shall be given on the credit union website, an email to the member, national and local newspaper and local radio. A proposer and seconder for that, please.
Proposed by Micheál Maloney
Proposed by Micheál Maloney
and seconded by Joan Richardson.
and seconded by Joan Richardson. And again, the same procedure, you vote. Yeah, that's carried. Thank you. Now, the overall motion then, and it's called motion 5. The overall motion is that Tipperary Credit Union need not hold a general meeting at a physical venue, but may conduct the meeting wholly or partly by use of electronic communications technology. I need a proposer and a seconder again for that, please.
Proposed by Michael Sweeney,
Proposed by Mike Sweeney
seconded by Mary Toomey.
and seconded by Mary Toomey. Thank you. And again, same procedure. You vote again on your screen. Okay, I know that was a time consuming, but thank everyone for proposing and seconder. Has to be done as part of our rules. So now we're now going on to the affiliation fee. It's the affiliation fee. I have to read out this fee. It's Tipperary Credit Union is affiliated to the Irish League of Credit Union and paid an affiliation fee of 39,321 during the year to the ILCU. As per our membership agreement, members agree to abide by the standard rules of credit union. Rule 109, Section 6 of the standard rules of credit unions allows for the cost of the annual affiliation fee paid to the Irish League of Credit Unions to be levied on members. The amount levied on each adult member will not be greater than €2.50. According to the rules, this cost is required to be levied within 4 months from the previous financial year end. In this case, the 31st of January 2021. Due to COVID-19 restrictions, legislation changes were required to allow credit unions to hold a virtual AGM before the end of April 2021. Tipperary Credit Union are holding their AGM 2020 on the 24th of March 2021. Consequently, the Board of Credit Union, Tipperary Credit Union, are of the view that the 31st of January deadline date for levying the affiliation fee has been extended to the end of April 2021 in line with the AGM extension. Thank you. Now, we have the ordinary resolutions. Ordinary resolutions. The Board of Directors submit the following ordinary resolutions to the AGM. 1. The Board of Directors recommend no dividend payment to members in accordance with central bank guidance to all credit unions. B. No loan interest rebate in accordance with central bank guidance to all credit unions. 2. The Board of Directors recommend a transfer of €604,787 from the current year surplus into the regulatory reserve. This transfer brings the overall regulatory reserve to €16,949,418, representing 10.75% of total gross assets. The minimum regulatory requirement is 10%. B. A transfer of €31,734 from the current year surplus into the operational risk reserve required by the central bank for all credit unions. C. A transfer of €34,256 from the current year surplus into a non-distributable reserve. Note: loan and investment income cannot be distributed unless received or receivable within a 12-month period. D. The Board recommends the balance of the undistributed surplus of €52,193 after the above allocations be carried forward in the balance sheet as a general reserve undistributed surplus, giving a closing balance of €3,304,300 in this reserve. Proposer and seconder required, please. Proposer and seconder.
Proposed by Vivian Gavitt
Proposed by Vivian Gavitt
and seconded by Brenda Ryan.
and seconded by Brenda Ryan. And once again, you go to your screen and you vote for adopting the ordinary resolutions, please. And that's passed. Thanks very much. Now, again, I have a pleasure in introducing Mike Quinn of the Board Oversight Committee to report on the Board Oversight Committee. Okay, Mike.
It is my pleasure on behalf of the Board Oversight Committee and my colleagues Marie Costello and Sean Bradshaw to present the report for the year ended 30th September 2020. The Board Oversight Committee is an independent body elected at the AGM. It is our duty to assess, evaluate and report on whether the Board of Directors has operated in accordance with Part 4 and Part 4A of the Credit Union Act 1997 as amended. During the past year, we met on at least a monthly basis, attended all board meetings, met quarterly with the board and submitted written reports to the board. We made a detailed examination of internal audit reports, compliance reports, risk management reports, the annual compliance statement and the strategic plan. Also, we can confirm that all policies required under the Credit Union Act are in place and that these policies are reviewed and updated annually. We reviewed internal audit and central bank recommendations and the board's response to those recommendations. Further to our checks during the year, we can report that the board has acted in accordance with the relevant parts of the Act. Tipperary Credit Union takes its statutory obligations very seriously, and the board, CEO and staff strive at all times to ensure the credit union operates to the highest standards. These are difficult times for our credit union, and we commend the board, the CEO and the staff for their excellent work. We thank them for their help and cooperation during the year. We send good wishes to all members of Tipperary Credit Union. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike, and the Board Oversight Committee, which is a very important committee within the credit union. And Mike and Sean and Marie do great diligent work over the year. So once again, thank you. I want a proposer and seconder now for the report, please. And if there's any questions, put them in the Q&A box.
Proposed by Marie Gaynor.
Proposed by Marie Gaynor.
Seconded by Claire Costello.
And seconded by Claire Costello. And again, you go to your screen and you vote for adopting of the Board Oversight Committee. Yes, we're moving along nicely. That's carried. Now we'll report on the report of the audit committee, take it as read. So I'm now moving on to a very important committee in the credit union again. We're very proactive in the community at Tipperary Credit Union, and it's the community committee report read by Breda McCarthy, and it's on page 46 of your booklet.
Good evening, everyone. The Board of Directors appoints the Community Committee annually to continue the development of the credit union through sponsorship and promotions. The committee meets regularly and reports to the board monthly. This year, COVID-19 significantly impacted how the Community Committee was able to operate. With restrictions on our ability to go out to the local community, we had to think outside the box when it came to sponsorship and promotions. This year, we worked together and adapted. During the year, Tipperary Credit Union spent over €25,823 on promotions and sponsorship. The funds were spent in helping support local clubs, community organisations, schools, community services and businesses. We also spent a further €58,985 on directly promoting the credit union products and services. Some of the activities we carried out during the year included school quiz, credit union art competition, transition year bursary, John Gaynor Memorial Student Scholarship, sponsorship of local clubs and organisations. Community projects. One of our biggest projects of 2020 was a Stay Local, Borrow Local, Shop Local campaign. Each business was participating received a 30-second video that they could use to promote their business on social media and their website. 25 businesses participated in this project. It was a huge success, and we want to say a special thanks to you, to Caleb Barrett, videographer, and all the businesses who participated. We were delighted to work with the Tipperary Town Revitalisation Task Force by sponsoring the competition within the local schools to create the task force logo and slogan. Congratulations to all involved, and we wish Tipperary Revitalisation Task Force the very best for the future. As a result of COVID, we took our membership day online and on the radio for 2020. This year, we turned our boardroom into a radio station. We all have had the 12 days of Christmas, which consists of vouchers for local businesses up for grabs on our social media platform. The theme of our Christmas members draw day was Tipperary Credit Union sponsoring our community thanks to our members. I would like to thank all our members and special guests for the support on the day. We were delighted to sponsor the Circle of Friends in the production and making of their fantastic DVD, A Circle of Friendship and Hope. Circle of Friends is a cancer support centre for the local community. The DVD is currently on sale in our headquarters in Tipperary Town, and we would encourage our members to show support by purchasing the DVD, and the process for the sale is going to help the funds in the centre. This year, we saw the launch of our brand new current account, globally accepted MasterCard debit card. More details are available on our website. The monthly maintenance fee is waived for both senior members and students. The format of our member card and cash draw changed this year. We now have 8 prizes in every draw. The first prize, a brand new car. The remaining 7 prizes are cash amounts. At €24 per annum and 6 draws within the year, it really is excellent value for money, and full list of membership car and car draw winners and cash draw winners are available in the annual report. We would like to thank all those who helped during the year, in particular the members of the Community Committee, the in-house marketing staff, Tipperary Print and Design, Fitzpatrick's Printers, Davis Printers, and a sincere thanks to Mike and Marion Kiley for their assistance. Massive thanks to you all and all the businesses in Tipperary Town and Limerick who sponsor us for the launch of our current account this year. And a special thanks to all those who helped with our Christmas Members' Day. Our thanks to the local newspapers, radio station, and the Tipperary People magazine for the help and courtesy they have shown us throughout the year. Of course, all this work would not have been possible without the generous support of the Board of Directors, who has at all times put the necessary finances at our disposal to enable us to carry out our task. We thank them for their support. Thank you.
Thank you, Breda. As can be seen there, it just shows how involved Tipperary Credit Union is in the community. So could I have a proposer and seconder for the Community Committee report as presented by Breda McCarthy?
Proposed by Catherine Hogan.
Proposed by Catherine Hogan.
And seconded by Mary Toomey.
And seconded by Mary Toomey. And we move on. Yeah, it's carried. Thank you. Now, I suppose the credit union, the most important aspect of Tipperary Credit Union and any credit union is the lending. It's important that we be able to lend out to members. So the next report is by Carmel Donovan, chairperson of the credit committee, and it's on page 48 of your booklet.
Good evening, everybody. This is your credit committee report. The Board of Directors appoint a credit committee and credit officers annually to consider and underwrite loan applications in accordance with the credit union's credit policy. The Board of Directors regularly review, revise and update Tipperary Credit Union's credit policy and also comply with central bank lending guidelines and legislation. At the 30th of September 2020, total loans outstanding from members amounted to 45.6 million. There was an increase of 1.3 million or 3% in 2019, reflecting a steady demand for credit union loan products. For the year to September 2020, 3,359 loans were paid out, amounting to 18.8 million. A total of 187 loans were refused as these applications did not meet the credit union's lending requirements. Tipperary Credit Union offers members 9 different loan interest rates depending on the product type, as well as providing loan protection insurance at no extra cost. This makes our credit union one of the most attractive places in which to borrow. Loan rates in Tipperary Credit Union are from 3.9% APR for new cars to 10.4% APR for unsecured personal loans. We also offer the personal microcredit loans in conjunction with the Department of Employment Affairs and Social Protection at 1% per month. There are many factors in deciding whether a loan should be approved or not. These include the member's record with the credit union and other lending institutions, that is, loan history and performance, their repayment ability, employment income details, loan amount and purpose, security if required, credit rating, and the confidence in the integrity of the borrower. Loan applicants must provide supporting documentation as required in the loan application and any other relevant information deemed necessary by the credit officers, credit committee or board. Loans can be applied for and drawn down online or using our mobile app. In conclusion, we thank you, the members, for your support during this difficult year. We express our sincere gratitude to the Board of Directors, management and staff for their cooperation and assistance. Thank you.
Thank you, Carmel. Could I have a proposer and seconder? If we have any questions, you can put them in the Q&A box. So I'll take a proposer and seconder, please.
Proposed by Sarah Slattery.
Proposed by Sarah Slattery.
And seconded by Trace O'Connell.
And seconded by Trace O'Connell. That's carried. Thank you again, Carmel. Now, the next is if we give out the money, we have to make sure we collect the money. So we have the Credit Control Committee report now, as presented by Dominic Morrissey, and it's on page 49 of your booklet.
Report of the Credit Control Committee. The Board of Directors appoint a Credit Control Committee annually to monitor slow and non-paying loan accounts. In addition, there are 3 paid staff, including the Credit Controller, who manages arrears and collections daily. The committee meets on a regular basis and reports are sent to management and ultimately to the Board of Directors. Letters are sent in the first instance to those members not paying their loan as agreed. Failure to respond results in personal calls being made and follow-up by telephone. When all avenues are exhausted, we then have to consider the use of legal action. We do not take this step lightly, but we have a duty to the membership in general to recover their money. The board charged off €195,872 worth of loans to the legal system in this year's accounts. The total bad debt provision in the financial statements accounts for 11.61% of the total gross loans outstanding at the year end. In 2019, that figure was 11.67%. Our default ratio, that is, the percentage of loans outstanding greater than 9 weeks in arrears, as a percentage of total gross loans at year end, was 1.21%. In 2019, it was 1.88%. This is one of the lowest, if not the lowest, level of arrears in the credit union movement, which is a reflection on our credit control department, underwriters, and above all, our commitment to protect members' savings. During the year, bad debt previously charged off amounting to €322,206. In 2019, it amounted to €322,766 were recovered, mainly through the legal process. We encourage any member having difficulty with loan repayments to contact the credit union and not ignore the problem. This is especially true in the current COVID-19 pandemic crisis. The credit union will do its best to help if possible. The government's insolvency service is in operation and was set up by the government to assist people to sort out their debts either through renegotiation settlements or bankruptcy. For details, contact the Insolvency Service of Ireland at www.isi.gov.ie. We would like to thank our credit control team for their work in the credit control area, and we congratulate all borrowers who have honoured their commitments. Thank you.
Thank you, Dominic. Could we have a proposer and seconder for the Credit Control Committee report, please?
Proposed by Helen Tracy
Proposed by Helen Tracy
and seconded by Claire Costello.
and seconded by Claire Costello. And that's carried. Thank you, Dominic. Now, we're moving on now. Very good. The following report, the report of the Insurance Officer, take it as read. The next report of the Membership Committee, take it as read. The next report, the Remuneration Committee, take it as read. The next report, the Risk Committee, take it as read. So we're now moving on to the Nominating Committee, another very important committee within the Credit Union. And I'd like to introduce Kevin Ryan, Director, to read the report, please.
Report of the Nominating Committee 2020. The Nominating Committee met on the 16th of March 2021 by conference call due to COVID restrictions. The following directors are outgoing: Breda McCarthy, Anne Toohey Halligan and Michael Sweeney, and are seeking re-election. Nominations were received in writing from Breda McCarthy, Anne Toohey Halligan and Michael Sweeney. The nominations were signed by the nominee and proposed and seconded in accordance with the standard rules. The following member of the Board Oversight Committee, Marie Costello, is outgoing and is seeking re-election. A nomination was received in writing from Marie Costello. The nomination was signed by the nominee and proposed and seconded in accordance with the standard rules. A nomination was received in writing for Grant Thornton for the position of auditor. The nomination was signed by the nominee and proposed and seconded in accordance with the standard rules. Thank you.
So I now proceed. I need a proposer and seconder for Kevin's report. Pat Roach proposed.
And Mary Toomey seconded.
And Mary Toomey seconded, and that's carried. Thank you, Kevin. So we're now on to the election of an auditor, board oversight and committee and board of directors. We'll now move to election of them. As this is a virtual AGM, a member of our management team, that's Brendan Ryan, has been nominated as teller for the elections. The elections and results are also being monitored by our internal auditor. A voting ballot will appear on your screen under each category. You have 20 seconds to vote, 30 seconds for the board vote. You need to click on the person you wish to vote in each category. We're now on, I suppose, tonight is unique, as you know, virtual AGM. So we're having a member draw for all those that attended tonight's virtual AGM. And the winning member will be notified directly in the coming weeks. And as you know, over the years, we have, whenever we did our AGM in Ballycastine or whatever, we always had hampers, but unfortunately we can't do that this year. But we will be having our draws throughout the year like we always have. And of course, we have our very successful car draw, and that's still open, you know, for people to join. And, you know, I suppose we're constantly trying to, you know, been promoting our credit union with different competitions in that. So we're waiting on the results of the elections now. If there's any more questions, we can take them.
Any questions?
Any questions? I suppose before I yeah, we'll have the election results in a minute. I'd like to, before I suppose we finish tonight, just to thank very much AVC, who have hosted the AGM tonight. Without them, we wouldn't be able to hold the meeting. Their expertise is fantastic, and wish them well in their business. And of course, I can't go without mentioning one man in particular who has put an awful amount of work into this over the last few months. That's Brendan Ryan, our IT specialist here in Tipperary Credit Union. He's been absolutely tremendous and has guided us all in this unique event. So again, thank you, Brendan, for that. And of course, I would thank, I suppose, to my own opportunity to thank all my fellow board of directors over the last year. They've been fantastic support. And our CEO, you know, we're very, very lucky in the CEO we have in Pat Shanahan. He's been absolutely excellent in the 24 years I've known him. We have paddled together, I suppose, and worked hard and got the credit union where it is today. And so that we're in a very strong position going forward. And also all the staff, and wish all our staff who have departed with us in the last 2 weeks well. But that's it, I suppose, only for the election results, and to thank you for your patience. And, you know, I suppose in the future, we'll be out of COVID. Borrow wisely here in Tipperary Credit Union. We'll always get help and a listening ear, and we'll do our best, if at all possible, to try and lend out that money, because that's what we're here for. So again, thank you for attendance tonight. So the election results, I will announce them now. And they are, Grant Thornton have been elected with 57 people voted to elect them. The Board Oversight Committee, 57 voted to elect them. And in the results for the directors, tis Breda McCarthy is elected, Mike Sweeney is elected, and Anna Tui Halligan is elected, all three, and they're all 59, 57 and 58. So it's all similar. So thank you again to everyone that was here on the virtual meeting. And that's it for me. And wish you well. Oh, the Marie Costello on the Board Oversight Committee was also elected by 57. So the three positions, Auditor, Board Oversight, and the three directors are all elected, and wish them well for the coming year. And without, I'll have enough said now tonight, and I'll be shut up. So thank you.
Thank you, John.